Hello, this video is to walk you through the process of taking the audio that you've posted to the Tidely Church app dashboard and categorizing that audio by sermon series. So I'm logged into the Church app dashboard over here, and over here I'm running the associated app with the church I'm logged into on the dashboard. So all I'm going to do is go to the audio section, and then as I go in the app to the sermons that are associated with this audio section, you can see that the two match up, and in the app it probably looks like what you're used to seeing in the Tidely Church app. Maybe you have thumbnails set up, but either way, it's just organized by date. So if I want to now convert these to be categorized by sermon series, all I do is press this Make Series button. This is probably the video you're watching right now, and as you can see here, it says when you do this action, you can undo it. So if you don't like the fact that you've categorized by sermon series, you can go back to the way it looks over here and not worry about losing any of your sermons. But I'm going to go ahead and make series, and what you're going to see is with that done, over here in this column, it is called Standalone Now. I mean, each of the sermons are in the standalone bin. And that's because once you convert over to being sermon series, every single sermon needs to be associated with a series. And we know you might have hundreds of sermons and you don't want to go through and categorize every single one of them just for them to show up in the app. So now as I go into the sermon section, you can see we have a standalone series, and then all of our sermons are here in the same order, ordered by date, but they are inside of this standalone series. So, like I said, we understand you could have a lot of sermons. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here and start setting up series just for my newest series. So I'm going to go into the series section, and when I do that, I can first of all edit this if I don't like the fact that I'm using my church icon. So I'm going to rename this standalone messages, North Coast messages that don't belong to a series. And it's fine to not add a description, but you'll see why I'm doing it here in a second. I have the ability to set a square image or a wide image. I don't have a square image, so I'm just going to use the wide image. And the start date is used to organize my series. So I know that these sermons are I know that I'm going to want series to start from around March. There I am actually setting the series graphic. So I'm going to put my standalone all the way back in February and say that's where I want it to start. I set that for February, and now if you want to add a bumper video, this is where you can add it at, and then I'm going to go ahead and update series, and there we go. Now that is all set. So now when I refresh the app, you'll see that I now have that graphic set, and I'm all ready to start adding a bunch of series. And you can see there it says North Coast messages that don't belong, and then you can see as I go in here, North Coast messages that don't belong to a series. So now let's go ahead and add those 5 or 6 most recent series, and you can do this really quickly because you can do all of them without actually needing to add sermons into those series. So I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and copy the image for a series, and this series is the Book of Acts, and dive into the exciting stories from Acts. From Acts. And I'm going to go ahead and create series. So that was our August series. Let's go ahead and add new, and missed the button here. And then we're going to do, this is Mark, and I'm going to copy the image to do address and explore the book of Mark. I realize these are very generic, but these are just examples for you. This is our July series, so I'm setting it to July, and I'm going to set my wide image and create series. And there we go for that. And as you can see, I can dive back into Mark if I want, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and add another one, which is called One Hit Wonder. And the goal here is just to show you how fast this is. One Hit Wonder. God can use anyone to help accomplish his goals. And this will be our June series. Create series. So there we have our June series. Let's go ahead and add one more, which is Why Am I Here? And we'll call this Why Am I Here? And discover the reason God has placed us on the earth. Well, let's just say that as a description. I'll add my image there. We'll go back to May. And you can go back as far as you want. What I'm doing right here, I'm just showing you how quickly you can make this look good. And once again, did not put a bumper video for that, but now I have all of my series ready to go. So we're saying Axe, Mark, One Hit Wonder, Why Am I Here? Now, with that taken care of, I can go dive into the different sermons. And just so you know, if you refresh the app now, nothing's going to change about the app because you haven't actually put any of those sermons, you haven't put any sermons into those series. You need to add sermons into the series. So I'm going to go ahead and say, this sermon belongs to the book of Acts. I'm going to save it. That easy. You can now see that this sermon is associated with the book of Acts. I'm going to say that the next two are also for the book of Acts. And obviously, I'm just saying, because I'm making this up as I go. As you're doing this, it's going to make a lot more sense as to why you do it the way that you do it. And now you can see that those three are the book of Acts. These are obviously one-hit wonders since they say they have one hit in their name. So we're doing one hit two, and I'm going to associate these with one hit wonder. And we'll just keep going through. We'll do two in Mark. And here we go, Mark. And then let's toss one into, I think, the final series that we haven't used yet. So this is a wonderful sermon named... what was it, message here. All right, so now we have all of these set up, and you can see at a glance what series each of these belong to. So now let's go ahead and refresh the app, and you're going to see all of those series show up, and you can see the descriptions for each of those series, and that's why I set the description. You don't need to set the description, and it won't look funny. It'll actually center the title, and everything will look good, but this gives you the ability to have those descriptions show up, and you can see as I dive into each of these sermons now, I have the ability to see the sermons, and if I want now, or if whoever's using the app wants, now they can easily download all of the sermons in the series. So just from a few clicks, to set up that Mark series and then associate two sermons with it, it probably took me about 30 seconds, but now it gives people the abilities to access the sermons in such a cool way where I can jump between all of the series I have, see the sermons in the given series, and be able to download the sermons, see the description. It adds so many more abilities. So it's so cool how so little can add so much more to what your sermons do. So I want to jump through just a little more with you, which includes undoing this action. So as I go in here, I can go into series and I can go into settings, and this right here will actually undo the ability. But before I do that, I want to show you that in tabs, just like what you're used to doing, well, maybe you haven't, but you've always had the ability for lists like this. You can go to list display. So I went to sermons and tabs, which is the tab I'm in. I can go to list display and just say I want this to display as a grid, save it, and that easily now, as after this loads, I can dive into the app and you'll see that everything displays in a completely different way now because of that. And now I have my series displayed this way. So that easily you can do that. And don't worry, your descriptions are not lost here, because as I dive into a sermon, my description is there still at the top. So assuming you didn't want to do any of this, let's go ahead and go back and undo grids. So we're just going to go back to default. Whoops, I need to go back to, let's go back to list. And then going back to audio, like I was saying, you can go here, go to settings, disable series, and it says if you disable series, your existing sermons will be listed by date, like before, and your series details will be permanently removed. So the work we did here, which remember, that only took us about 2 minutes, but the work we did here will be lost, but your sermons will still exist. So if I say disable series, it's going to make me confirm that, and now you can see the series column is gone, and as I once again refresh the app, and go into sermons, there are my sermons listed like I started, just showing that you will not lose your sermons. This walks through the power of sermon series and categorizing and all of the abilities that you get with sermon series, but also the fact that you don't have to worry about losing what you've posted before and how quickly you can do all of this. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you need any support, reach out to us here at Tithely. Have a great day.